Hi guys, how we doing? Now, so since I did my last little video, there's a little bit of kickback. That's fine, not a problem. I was kind of expecting a little bit of it. It's not a problem. When I was explaining about the whole ARC ASA thing on the SSD drive. Now, for someone who isn't hugely technically minded, this could be an issue, all right, because as it was described in the beginning, the game had to be on the C drive, on the SSD card. Now, that may have changed, and obviously it has, which is fine for those who know that. But there's also those who have consoles that are saying that the game is taking up half their space on their consoles. So it's not just PC gamers that are having the issue. Okay. Now, the other point is that was not understood was the amount of money that is involved with playing ASA. Now, I run a not-for-profit CIC company that works with people in poverty and destitution. And can I say, and here in the UK, okay, that is my day job. That is what I do. Gaming is my release. It's my way of chilling out. It's my way of having a bit of fun, and I love the games I love because that's what I love, right? Okay, and who doesn't like riding around on a T-Rex, because quite frankly, if I could have one for real, I probably would do exactly that. Stick a saddle on it and call it Fred, because, I could. And yeah, and I would train it to eat stupid people, because I would, although it probably wouldn't deserve that level of junk food, but we'll see. Anyway, who knows? There's always mad scientists somewhere trying to do stupid stuff, so we'll just leave it there. But I don't think some of you really understand what I was getting at. Right now, currently in the UK there are 4.2 million people living in destitution. Now, destitution means that they can't afford their basic needs of life. They can't afford their rent, to clothe themselves, to feed themselves, any of that. They can't afford to do that. They can't afford to do that for their partner, their families, their children, any of it. Okay, they cannot afford to meet their everyday needs. And for the record, more than 80% of those people are working. So let's just make that hit home for a second. More people than the population of half of London, or the combined population of Manchester and Birmingham, live in destitution in the UK, which is a first world country, apparently. And 80% of them are working. People living in poverty in the UK at this point are just over 14.3 million people. So 14.5 million people. That is more than the combined income of London, Manchester and Birmingham combined. Now, people living in poverty just break even on their bills and their basic necessities. but they will probably have to rob Peter to pay Paul to have anything that is classified as any kind of entertainment. Now, the people that I work with, these are the people that I work with. These are the people that I help. These are the people, or I try and give them the tools to make things better. Okay? And many of them are gamers. Many of them are gamers. Now, they may not play the same games as you, and they may not play the same games as me, but they are gamers because it is, in many respects, affordable. Even if they have to save, £2 here, £2 there to buy a game or a DLC pack or anything like that, and it may take them 6 to 12 months to save that money. That's what we're getting at, right? Now, I've had a lot of comments from people saying, oh yeah, but get an external hard drive, blah. Do you know how many external hard drives I've got? I've got about, well, for my day job, I've got about 100. For my gaming, I've got around 25, and they're all a terabyte. I've just bought a new one, actually, for VODs, because I've got that many. So it's not like I'm short of them. However, they cost the same as the average game, just for an external hard drive. Okay? My partner, his computer can't run ASA because he doesn't have a big enough SSD or processor, and it's going to cost us an entire new computer for him to be able to even have Windows 11. Now, his computer is only 7.5 years old. It's not that old. It's not that old. It really isn't that old. Not really, when we build our own computers. Now, mine's a lot newer than his, and it was built specifically for not only gaming but to run DaVinci and other softwares that I need within what I do. So I had the 16. All I asked for was a terabyte C drive. I needed 2 terabytes in starting power for my D drive. I wanted 16 gig to run DaVinci because I knew I needed that. I ended up with 24, but that's, and of course I've got the graphics cards to match. I've got all of that stuff on mine. Okay, so I can play it, not a problem. I do a lot of graphics. I do a lot of, editing. I do a lot of all of that kind of stuff. I don't want to think when I have to put on a game, and when Wildcard announced that it had to be put on the C drive on an SSD, I was like, okay, cool, I can do that, right? Now, someone today has left a message saying that, it doesn't cost that much to get a terabyte SSD. Maybe not for you. And just because I own my own business doesn't mean that we've got a lot of money. My partner works, as well, and he still earns more money than I do, because I don't take a lot out of my business. In fact, I take very little out of my business. Let me see, how much did I take last year? Nothing. Yeah, I don't take anything out of my business. Okay, I live on personal independence payment, and the highest level of that because I am severely disabled. So I run a business, and my only income is from PIP, and the occasional 40 quid from Twitch, which is cool. And am I complaining? No, I'm not. Because we've got a roof over our head and we know what we're doing, right? Okay. And occasionally a job comes in where, we got a bit spare extra cash and we can update the computers and stuff like that. And we're lucky we can do that, right? But the people I work with are poorer than us. we're, by the way, we are eligible for benefits because of our low income. Even though I run my own business and he works full time as delivery driver and I'm on personal independence payment, we are eligible for benefits because we're just not paid enough to make ends meet. That's the bottom line, because very few people are paid enough to live on. So it's all right for you guys who are bigger end gamers, who have a lot more money or disposable income, what have you, to go, oh, but I've got this and I've got that. Well, okay, so the new external hard drive that I just bought, let me just have a look. Let me just pull up this. Where is it? Okay. Right. How much did that one cost? Yeah, so my new, I got a Toshiba Camvio Partner 1 terabyte portable external hard drive, cost me 52 quid. 52 quid. That's more than the game cost. Okay. That's more than the game cost. And for a lot of people here in the UK, that's more money than they can put aside for, even feeding their family for a month. A lot of people that I work with, they have to feed a family 4 on like 20 quid a week. 10 in some cases. So doing that, trying to say, oh yeah, well, they can just have this. It's like, well, that's nearly 3 weeks food money for some people. That's a lot of money. Okay, now you can be as blasé as you like, but when you're faced with not only that kind of money, but then having to update an entire system, like get a new computer and all of that kind of stuff, it's out of reach. Now, the other thing that I wanted to say is this. We were promised a product. That product has not yet been delivered. They've gone off on little side quests, but we haven't got the product that we were promised. Not all of it, and it was supposed to have been done by now, and all this other extra stuff was supposed to have come out after. Right? But they've put all this effort into these other new little side quests like Bob's Tall Tales and, cats. Like, seriously? Really? Cats? And what's the point? What really is the point? Because, what is the point? Now, ASA was the only game that I had on that SSD card, by the way. The only one. And because all my other games are either run off my D drive or run off external hard drives. Because I'm not that thick. You might think I am, and you might want to be a bit, about it. Because, I'm a girl, and I've been used to that since I was playing Atari, just for the record. I've been gaming since the original Atari, when, if you played Pac-Man for too long or any of the games for too long and you looked up, your mother's curtains started going all squirrely and moving and going all psychedelic, man. Yeah. So don't come at me about that, because I've been gaming for longer than probably you have been alive. So shush, behave yourself. Okay, and I may not be the sharpest tool in the shed when it comes to technology, because it is getting faster every day. But when somebody tells me that something has to be done a certain way, that's why I do it that way. Okay, you guys have found out something that I didn't know, which is cool, and that's fine. But there's ways of telling people. And the first comment that I got was by a guy that was really lovely about it. And can I just say, I'm really, really sorry. I didn't remove your comment. The only reason I got your comment is because it came through to me via email. And I've looked everywhere on YouTube, in the held comments, everything. But you know what YouTube are like. They like to remove stuff without you even knowing about it. So thank you for your comment. I really do appreciate it. I really, really do. But I think a lot of people lose touch with the fact that, oh yeah, well, I've got 50 or 80 hard drives. Well, that's great for you, you know, and if that's what you spend your money on, fabulous, wonderful. But the rest of the world can't always do that. They can't always do that. And I'm here to give a voice to the people who can't do that. That is my job. That is what I do. And to bring some perspective to things. Now, you go to any shop, any Kickstarter, anything like that, and you buy a product, you expect to get that product. You know, yes, you might have to wait a certain amount of time. And that's cool. But when other parts or added extras are being brought in before you've actually got the product you paid for, you start getting a bit antsy. Especially when the parts that you're waiting for are being put off and put off and put off, and then you're getting new things in all the time. Now, in any other industry, you'd be pulled up. You would be in big trouble with business oversight. You know, that's, you know, any country that has any kind of business oversight, you'd be in a lot of trouble over it. And they're not, which is fine, because gamers are like, oh yeah, well, you know, it's all wildcard time. Really? It might be in wildcard time, but I'd like to actually get the rest of the game that I paid for before I'm 60. You know, that's a few years away yet, but you know, I'd still like to get my game before I'm 60, because it feels like I'm not going to get to see the end of ASA, which I paid for back when I was 50. Actually, I was in my 40s still. I was 49 still. You know, some of us don't have as long as others to wait, and we'd like to get the rest of what we paid for. You know, so number one, could we please stop putting out more content that actually requires people to pay for it? Two, if you do make updates to the game where people don't need to do what you said originally, then please let us know that. And three, understand, and other gamers, please understand, not everybody has this kind of, you know, money that you seem to have floating around you know, with your SSD cards all over your desk, you know, because, you know, you can. Yeah, not everyone's got that. So chill out, number one. Number two, listen to what's being said and take a step back and try and put yourself in somebody else's shoes for a second. Okay? Just for a second. Alright? Because the point I'm trying to make is really important. And as much as some of you have been really great, okay, and giving really good suggestions and stuff, some of you need to go out there in the real world and see what's actually going on with real life people, because I don't think you got a clue. You really, really don't have a clue. So let's put some humanity back in gaming, hey? And some reality back in the fiction. Because as much as we all use gaming as an escape, not everyone's got the same resources as others to do that. And I'm very aware that some people use gaming as an escape from reality all day long. And that's not healthy either, because you lose that connection with people. I mean, I could do it if I wanted to. I could just sit here all day and just game. But I can't. No. I can't do that. So, anywho, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day. Let's just be a little bit more thoughtful. And if someone's giving you a message, maybe listen to the message. And if you're not understanding the message, listen again. Try again. For me, it takes 4 times. I'm autistic, have ADHD. It takes a minute to, you know, connect sometimes, you know. So, yeah. Okay. Have fun, guys. I love yous all heaps. And just remember, gaming is just that. It's a game. It's not life. Life is outside of the game. You know. Have an awesome one. See you later.